The bright flash of light in Earth's orbit marked the arrival of the first human ship to return from interstellar travel. The GSV Horizon, commanded by Captain Lucas Webb, had achieved what many thought impossible just 5 years earlier: faster than light travel. What humanity didn't know was that this achievement had set off alarms across the galaxy. They weren't supposed to develop FTL for at least another century, hissed Council Elder Zartuk, watching the grainy footage intercepted from Earth broadcasts. The 7 major species of the Galactic Council had monitored humanity from afar for decades, carefully managing Earth's technological progress through subtle interventions. 3 weeks after the Horizon's return, strange signals appeared on Earth's deep space monitoring arrays. A massive vessel of clearly alien design approached the edge of the solar system, broadcasting a message in perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. The Galactic Council welcomes you to the interstellar community." President Diana Foster called an emergency meeting with her top advisors. "This changes everything," she said, looking around the room at shocked faces. "We need our best people on this." Ambassador William Grant led Earth's hastily assembled first contact team aboard the newly completed diplomatic vessel Harmony. A veteran diplomat with decades of experience in international negotiations, Grant had never imagined his skills would be tested beyond Earth's atmosphere. The meeting point was a massive space station orbiting Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to Earth's sun. As the Harmony docked with the alien structure, Grant felt the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. The Council representatives, 7 beings of wildly different physiologies, sat across from the human delegation in the station's grand chamber. What started as a cordial welcome quickly turned tense. "We are pleased to welcome Earth to the galactic community," said Zartuk, the insectoid representative who led the council. "As is standard procedure for emerging species, we have prepared the integration protocols for your review." Grant accepted the data tablet offered by a hovering robot assistant. As he read through the terms, his expression darkened. "These aren't protocols," he said finally. "These are restrictions." The terms were clear. Earth would surrender its independent FTL research, accept technological limitations, remain confined to its own solar system for a probationary period of 50 years, and allow Council observers to monitor human development. "This is standard practice," explained Tella, the Avian Council member. "All species undergo this transition period. It ensures stability." Grant stood up. "My team needs time to consult with our government." Back aboard the Harmony, the human delegation was in an uproar. "They're treating us like children," said Science Advisor Emma Woods. "Worse, they're treating us like a threat." Grant sent the Council's terms to Earth and waited tensely for a response. What came back surprised even him. 3 days later, Grant returned to the Council chamber with Earth's official response. The gathered alien representatives leaned forward expectantly. After careful consideration, Grant began. "Earth respectfully declines the integration protocols as presented." Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. "Instead," Grant continued, "we propose open diplomatic relations on equal terms, with mutual technological exchange and free movement rights." "Unacceptable," Zartuk snapped. "No emerging species has ever." "Perhaps that's the problem," Grant interrupted. "Earth will not accept second-class status in the galactic community. We will not surrender our independence or our right to develop on our own terms." "This is unprecedented," gasped another council member. Grant stood firm. "Earth refuses further talks until we are treated as equals. We came to the stars seeking friends and neighbors, not masters." As the human delegation left the chamber, the council erupted into chaos. For the first time in 5,000 years, an emerging species had refused to follow the established order. Nobody realized yet how this single act of defiance would reshape the galaxy. Council High Minister Zartuk paced the length of his private chamber, his insectoid limbs clicking against the metallic floor. The veins along his carapace pulsed with a bright blue glow, a clear sign of agitation among the Meldari. "Impossible," he muttered. simply impossible. No species in the 5,000-year history of the Galactic Council had ever rejected integration protocols. The humans' refusal threatened the very foundation of galactic order. "Minister, the emergency session is ready," announced his aide. The Council's grand chamber buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered. The 7 major council races occupied the central platform, while junior members and observers filled the surrounding tiers. "The humans leave us no choice," Zartuk declared. "They must understand their place in the galactic hierarchy." The Quillian representative, a crystalline being named Merax, spoke up. "Perhaps we should consider their proposal. The humans have shown remarkable adaptability." "Compromise suggests weakness," countered Vesperi delegate Drell, her serpentine body coiling tightly. "The protocols exist for a reason." After hours of heated debate, the council voted. The result was clear. Earth would be given one final chance to accept council authority. Aboard the Earth vessel Pioneer, orbiting just beyond the council station, Captain Susan Bailey watched as the transmission came through. The holographic image of Zartuk appeared on the bridge. "People of Earth," the council leader began, "your rejection of established protocols threatens galactic stability. The council hereby issues a formal ultimatum. Accept our guidance within 30 standard days, or Earth will face complete isolation from all council worlds and resources." Bailey's face remained impassive, but her knuckles whitened as she gripped the command chair. "Record this and transmit to Earth Command immediately," she ordered her communications officer, Jack Powell. "Yes, Captain. Do you think they're serious about isolation?" Bailey studied the alien's image. "They're certainly trying to be, but I don't think they realize who they're dealing with." Back on Earth, the ultimatum triggered an unprecedented global response. For the first time in human history, nearly every nation united behind a single purpose. In the White House Situation Room, Defense Secretary Alan Parker briefed President Olivia Martinez and her cabinet. "Our intelligence suggests the Council is divided on this issue," Parker explained, pointing to data streams collected by Earth's covered observers. "Several junior member species have privately expressed support for our position." "And the isolation threat?" asked the President. "Largely unenforceable without military action," Parker replied. "Their own charter forbids aggression against developing worlds. They're bluffing." President Martinez studied the reports carefully. As a former physicist, she understood the technological advancements Earth stood to gain or lose, depending on their next move. "If we back down now, we'll be surrendering humanity's independence for generations," she said finally. "Draft a response. We're calling their bluff." While Earth prepared its official response, human diplomats worked quietly behind the scenes. Ambassador Grant arranged discreet meetings with representatives from several junior council species who had endured similar treatment during their own integrations. On the 29th day of the ultimatum, Earth's response was delivered not by transmission but in person. President Martinez herself arrived at the council station aboard the newly commissioned Earth vessel Defiant. The council chamber fell silent as the human leader took the podium. "The people of Earth have considered your ultimatum," Martinez began, her voice calm and measured. "We respectfully maintain our position. Earth will not submit to integration protocols that treat humans as lesser beings." She paused, scanning the room. "Furthermore, we have established bilateral relations with 17 spacefaring civilizations who share our concerns about council governance. Together, we call for reforms that recognize the sovereignty of all species." Zartuk rose from his seat, mandibles clicking in fury. "You have made a grave mistake. The isolation begins immediately." President Martinez simply nodded. "We expected nothing less. Earth is prepared." As she turned to leave, several council representatives from junior species stood in a symbolic gesture of support. The great chamber erupted into chaos, centuries of carefully maintained order beginning to crumble. The galactic balance of power had shifted, and everyone knew it. Commander Peter Wilson stood at the viewport of Earth's diplomatic station, watching alien ships come and go. As head of diplomatic security, he analyzed each vessel with a trained eye. One particular ship caught his attention, smaller than most, with unusual blue-green markings. "That's the third time that Turellian shuttle has passed by today," he noted to his security officer. "Turellians? They're one of the newer council members, right?" asked Officer Gina Miller. Wilson nodded. "Joined about 50 years ago. Keep an eye on them." Later that night, as Wilson reviewed security footage in his office, a message flashed on his terminal. "Maintenance level. Storage Bay 12. Come alone. Information vital to Earth." Every instinct told Wilson this was a trap, yet his curiosity won out. With a hidden sidearm and an emergency beacon, he made his way to the lower levels. The storage bay was dimly lit. A figure emerged from the shadows. A Turellian. Standing about 5 feet tall with iridescent blue-green skin and 4 arms, the alien raised its upper limbs in what Wilson recognized as a peaceful gesture. "Commander Wilson, I am Kravix, third attaché to the Turellian delegation," the alien said in slightly accented English. "How do you know my name?" Wilson remained cautious. "Your situation interests us greatly," replied Kravix. "The Turellians faced similar treatment when we joined the Council 50 years ago. We were forced to accept technological restrictions that crippled our development for decades." Wilson relaxed slightly. "Why risk contacting me?" "Because Earth's defiance has created an opportunity many of us have waited for." The Turellians' large eyes blinked. "There are others, junior council races who chafe under the established hierarchy. The Ixen, the Borleth, even my own people. We can help each other." "What kind of help?" "Technology, information, political support." Kravix handed over a small data device. "This contains council security codes and patrol schedules. And something more valuable, the contact protocols for representatives of 12 species who wish to form an alliance with Earth." Wilson stared at the device. "Why would you betray the Council?" "It is not betrayal to seek equality," Kravix said simply. "Earth showed courage we lacked. Now we find our own." Within days, Earth established secret communications with 3 junior council races. The nascent alliance grew rapidly as more species made contact. On the Council's central world, rumors spread quickly. Minister Drell of the Vesperi summoned an emergency session. "We have evidence that Earth is conspiring with junior members to undermine Council authority," she hissed, showing intercepted communications. "They sow discord among us." High Minister Zartuk slammed his limb against the table. "This is precisely why emerging species must be controlled. The humans are dangerously disruptive." On the outer rim of the chamber, several junior representatives exchanged glances but remained silent. Back on Earth, Admiral Natalie Reeves addressed the newly assembled defense fleet. 50 ships, small by Council standards but equipped with Earth's latest technology, prepared for possible conflict. "I want to be clear," Reeves told her officers, her voice firm. "We're not looking for war. But we won't back down from intimidation either." Captain Ben Howard of the vessel Challenger raised his hand. "Admiral, intelligence reports the Council is mobilizing ships near Proxima Centauri. Should we prepare for engagement?" "Not yet," Reeves replied. "Our new allies inform us. This is likely a show of force. The Council remains divided on how to handle us." Ambassador Grant joined the briefing, looking tired but determined. "Our strategy is working. 7 more species have requested private talks with Earth in the past week. The Council's unified front is cracking." "And if they attack?" asked Howard. Grant and Reeves exchanged glances. "Then we show them why trying to control humanity was their biggest mistake," Reeves said quietly. The next day, 3 Turellian warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Jupiter, followed by vessels from the Ixen Collective. They transmitted a simple message: Earth does not stand alone. The news spread across human colonies and outposts. What had begun as a diplomatic standoff was becoming a revolution that would reshape galactic politics forever. And at the heart of it all was humanity's simple refusal to be treated as less than equals. Kyle Johnson was not supposed to be in the restricted archives of the Proxima diplomatic hub. As a junior aide to the Earth delegation, his clearance extended only to public council records. Yet here he was, heart-pounding as he quickly downloaded files from the classified council database. 2 more minutes before the security sweep, whispered Eli, his Ixan ally who had helped bypass the security protocols. The small, gray-skinned alien's fingers moved rapidly across the holographic interface. Almost there, Johnson replied, watching the data transfer. The mission had begun with a cryptic message from Ambassador Grant. Find what they're hiding about Earth's history. What Johnson discovered shocked him. The files revealed centuries of council intervention in Earth's affairs, subtle sabotage of promising research, accidents that killed scientists on the verge of FTL breakthroughs, manipulated resource discoveries to direct human technological development along paths the council preferred. They'd been playing us for generations, Johnson muttered, watching the final files transfer. Security drones approaching, Eli warned. Time to go. Johnson slipped the data crystal into his pocket and followed the Ixan through the maintenance corridors. Minutes later, they parted ways, Eli returning to the Ixan delegation while Johnson headed for the Earth compound. Ambassador Grant reviewed the files in his secure office, face growing darker with each revelation. This changes everything, he said finally. Transmit these to Earth immediately. Full encryption. Within hours, the classified information spread across Earth's information networks. Unredacted Council reports detailed their assessment of humanity as too aggressive for unrestricted space travel and requiring extensive management before integration. Public opinion hardened overnight. Protests erupted outside alien consulates. Military enlistment spiked 300%. In an emergency United Nations session, Senator Frank Rodriguez of the North American Union stood to address the assembly. For centuries, we believed we were alone in the universe, he began, his voice tight with controlled anger. Now we learn not only were we being watched, but actively held back. The Council deliberately sabotaged our development, caused the deaths of our scientists, all while preparing to force us into subservience. And now they demand we submit. The vote was unanimous. Earth would not only maintain its refusal to negotiate on council terms, but would demand reparations for the centuries of interference. On the council's central world, the revelations caused unprecedented turmoil. The 7 major species had never faced such a crisis. How did they access these files? Demanded Zartuk, his exoskeleton now pulsing bright red in rage. This is a severe security breach. That hardly matters now, replied Elder Kelinar of the Ashradi, the oldest council race. The damage is done. Half our junior members are openly questioning our authority. The humans must be punished, insisted Drell of the Vesperi. This leak threatens the entire galactic order. And how do you propose to punish them without triggering open rebellion from our own members? Asked Kelinar. The Taurelian faction already supports Earth's position. The Ixan and Borleth delegations refused to attend this session. For the first time in 5 millennia, the council chamber buzzed with whispers of revolution. Back on the Proxima diplomatic station, Johnson sat alone in the Earth compound's observation deck, watching ships come and go. His role in the leak remained secret to all but a few, yet he felt the weight of history shifting around him. A message alert chimed on his personal device. It was from Eli. More species requesting Earth's communication protocols. 15 new delegations want talks. The revolution is spreading. Johnson smiled faintly. The careful order the council had maintained for thousands of years was unraveling, all because humans refused to accept their assigned place. Outside the viewport, a council security vessel departed hastily, heading toward the main council world. The old powers were retreating, confusion replacing their former confidence. And it had all started with humanity's simple, Defiant, no. Captain Elizabeth Dixon stood on the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Defiant, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. 3 massive Meldery cruisers had taken position near Neptune's orbit, effectively blocking the most common approach vector to Earth. "They're hailing us, Captain," reported Communications Officer Ryan Ford. Dixon straightened her uniform. On screen, the alien commander appeared, a high-ranking Meldery with distinctive red markings across his exoskeleton. "Earth vessel Defiant. This is Commander Vrax of the Galactic Council Enforcement Division. By order of the Council, this system is now under restricted access protocols. Return to Earth immediately." Dixon's expression remained neutral, though her crew could see her jaw tighten. "Commander Vrax, this is Captain Elizabeth Dixon of the Earth Defense Force. Your vessels have entered sovereign Earth space without permission. This constitutes an act of war under both Earth and Council law. Your laws are irrelevant." Vrax replied. "The Council has declared emergency measures. All non-Council authorized travel to and from Earth is prohibited." Dixon cut the communication with a gesture. "Battle stations. Defensive posture only." "Captain," her first officer, Commander Sam Holden, spoke quietly. "They outgun us 3-1. "I'm aware," Dixon replied. "But we're not moving. Send emergency signals to all Allied vessels in the sector, and open a direct channel to Earth Command." The standoff continued for 18 tense hours. The Defiant remained perfectly positioned between the Meldery vessels and Earth, refusing to budge despite increasingly hostile warnings. On Earth, Admiral Reeves monitored the situation from Central Command. "Any response from our allies?" "The Torellians acknowledge receipt of our distress call," replied her aide. "No ETA on assistance." "The Council is testing our resolve," Reeves said, "and the resolve of our new friends." Just as the Meldery ships began powering up their weapons arrays, space distorted behind them. 5 vessels dropped out of FTL, 3 Torellian warships, and 2 massive Ixen carriers. Council vessels, came the transmission from the lead Torellian ship. "This blockade violates Section 17 of the Council Charter regarding actions against non-aggressive developing worlds. Stand down or face unified response." The Meldery commander hesitated, clearly surprised by the appearance of Council member species supporting Earth. After a brief communication with his superiors, the Meldery cruisers powered down their weapons and slowly retreated. As the alien ships disappeared into FTL, cheers erupted across the Defiance Bridge. Dixon allowed herself a small smile before ordering, "Stand down from battle stations, and send my personal thanks to our allies." Images of the standoff, captured by Earth observation satellites, spread rapidly across the galaxy. The Defiant, significantly smaller than the Meldery vessels, yet refusing to yield, became a powerful symbol. Council worlds that had chafed under the dominant species rule for centuries saw hope in humanity's defiance. On thousands of planets, protests erupted. Junior Council members publicly questioned the leadership of the 7 major species. Several worlds announced they would no longer enforce Council restrictions against Earth. In the Council's Grand Chamber, chaos reigned. The Torellian representative faced furious accusations from Zartuk. "You have committed treason against the Council." The Meldery leader raged. "We have upheld the Council's own charter," replied the Torellian calmly. "Perhaps you should reread it." Elder Kelinar of the Ashrati, who had remained silent during much of the crisis, finally spoke. "For 5,000 years, we have maintained order through hierarchy. Perhaps that time has passed." The statement sent shockwaves through the chamber. When the eldest council race suggested change, even the most conservative members were forced to listen. Back on Earth, Dixon received a personal commendation from President Martinez. "Your courage prevented what could have been the first interstellar war involving humanity," the president told her. "I was just doing my duty, Madam President," Dixon replied. "But I don't think this is over." "No," agreed Martinez. "It's only beginning." Ambassador William Grant stared at his communication terminal in disbelief. The screen displayed a constantly updating list of requests for direct diplomatic relations with Earth. In just 3 days, the number had grown from 7 to 27 species. "This is unprecedented," said his assistant, Megan Reed, scanning the latest arrivals. The Dorland Collective just added their request. They've been council members for over 800 years. Grant ran a hand through his gray hair. "The council's unity is collapsing faster than anyone predicted. We need more diplomats." Earth's unexpected stand against the Galactic Council had triggered what historians would later call the diplomatic revolution. As news of the Neptune blockade spread, species that had quietly accepted council hierarchy for centuries began to question the status quo. Chief diplomat Victoria Garcia led Earth's rapidly expanding diplomatic corps. A brilliant negotiator with a deep understanding of cultural differences, she had designed Earth's revolutionary approach to interstellar relations. "The key," she explained to a room full of newly commissioned diplomats, "is our emphasis on respect and sovereignty. For too long, the Council has treated most species as subordinates rather than equals. We offer something different." As bilateral agreements bypassed traditional Council channels, the restrictive trade regulations that had maintained the 7 major species' economic dominance began to crumble. Markets once closed to junior members opened. Technologies previously restricted flowed freely between new allies. On Earth, industries rapidly adapted alien technologies shared by friendly species. Human manufacturing techniques, particularly Earth's innovative approach to material science, proved surprisingly valuable to many alien civilizations. Perhaps most unexpected was the galactic hunger for human culture. Music, art, literature, and philosophy flowed outward from Earth, creating what the Ixon ambassador termed the human renaissance. The concept of individual rights, taken for granted by humans, but revolutionary to many hierarchical alien societies, spread like wildfire across hundreds of worlds. In her office on the rebuilt Proxima station, Garcia met with representatives from the Quarrel, ancient, crystalline beings who had observed council politics for millennia without direct involvement. "You have catalyzed inevitable change," the Quarrel representative communicated through a translator device. "The council structure has grown rigid, brittle. All rigid systems eventually break." "We didn't intend to cause a revolution," Garcia replied honestly. "We simply wanted to be treated as equals." "Perhaps that is why you succeeded where others failed," the Quarrel responded. "Your demand was both simple and undeniable." Meanwhile, on dozens of council worlds, popular movements arose demanding governmental reforms. Species that had been integrated into the council centuries ago began questioning the restrictions they had long accepted as necessary. The Vesperi, one of the 7 major council races, faced internal rebellion when their colony worlds demanded independence. The Meldari struggled to maintain control as junior allies defected to direct partnerships with Earth and its growing coalition. On the Taurelian homeworld, celebrations filled the streets when their leadership announced full technological exchange with Earth, ending centuries of council-imposed limitations. "The old order is dying," Garcia told Grant during their weekly strategy meeting. "We need to ensure what replaces it is better, not worse." Grant nodded solemnly. "President Martinez is concerned about potential backlash. Not all council species are happy with these changes. Which is why our next step is crucial," Garcia replied, sliding a data pad across the table. "A new framework for interspecies cooperation. Not a hierarchical council, but a cooperative of equals." Grant studied the document, a draft charter for what would become the Interstellar Cooperative of Sovereign Species. "It's ambitious," he said finally. Garcia smiled. "So was refusing the Council's demands in the first place. Look where that got us." As the Galactic Council's authority continued to erode, Earth found itself in an unexpected position, not merely fighting for its independence, but helping to shape a new galactic order. And it had all begun with a simple refusal to accept second-class status among the stars. 6 months after Earth's initial refusal to accept Council terms, representatives from 42 worlds gathered in the newly constructed Unity Hall in Geneva. The massive dome, designed to accommodate beings of wildly different physiologies, glittered in the morning sunlight as delegates arrived. President Olivia Martinez stood at the entrance, greeting each species personally. From the towering Ixen to the diminutive Borleth, from oxygen brothers to methane-dependent life forms, all found welcome on Earth. This would have been unimaginable half a year ago. Ambassador Grant remarked, watching the procession. "History rarely moves in small steps," Martins replied. "Sometimes it leaps forward." Inside the hall, the final draft of the Interstellar Cooperative Charter awaited ratification. Unlike the hierarchical council structure, the document established a system where each species held equal voting rights regardless of technological development or age of spacefaring civilization. The most surprising arrival came last. Former Council High Minister Zartuk, now representing only the Meldari, entered without fanfare. His once dominant species had lost most of its influence when the Council collapsed under the weight of mass defections. Minister Zartuk, Martinez greeted him with the same respect shown to all delegates. "We welcome the Meldari to these proceedings." The insectoid being's mandibles clicked softly. "The Meldari adapt to changing realities, President Martinez. Though we may not agree with all that has occurred, we recognize the need to participate in what comes next." The ceremony began with a speech from Elder Kelinar of the Ashrati, the most ancient of the former council races. "For 5,000 years, we believed order required hierarchy." The elders' translated words echoed through the hall. "We were wrong. True stability comes from mutual respect and shared purpose." When Martinez took the podium, cameras from across Earth and dozens of alien worlds broadcast her image to trillions of beings. "We came to the stars expecting to find either enemies or saviors," she began. "Instead, we found neighbors, diverse in form and thought, but united in desire for freedom and respect." She paused, looking across the assembled delegates. "Earth did not set out to change the galactic order. We simply refused to accept a place in it that denied our basic dignity." That simple refusal revealed what many had long felt but few dared express: that all intelligent beings deserve equal voice in our shared future. The charter passed unanimously. The Interstellar Cooperative of Sovereign Species was born. As delegates celebrated, Chief Diplomat Garcia found herself standing beside a Torellian representative. "Your people were the first to stand with us," she noted. "Why take such a risk?" The Torellian's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue hue. "For 50 years, we accepted restrictions we knew were unjust, believing we had no choice. Then humans appeared, refusing what we had accepted. You showed us another way was possible." Across the galaxy, the effects of Earth's stand continued to ripple outward. Trade routes once controlled by council powers opened to all species. Technologies previously restricted flowed freely. Cultural exchange flourished on an unprecedented scale. Not all transitions were smooth. Several hardline council loyalists refused to join the cooperative, creating tensions along newly established borders. But most beings embraced the new order with relief and hope. In Unity Hall's garden, Zartuk approached Martinez after the ceremony. "I once believed humans were dangerous," the former council leader admitted. "Perhaps I was right, but not in the way I imagined. Your ideas have proven more disruptive than any weapon." Martinez smiled. "Change is always disruptive, Minister, but sometimes necessary." Indeed, the Meldari made a gesture of respectful acknowledgement. "The council stood for 5 millennia. I wonder how long your cooperative will last." "I don't know," Martinez replied honestly. "But whatever replaces it someday, I hope it will be even better." As night fell over Geneva, lights from a dozen alien vessels illuminated the sky, not in threat, but in celebration. Humanity's journey among the stars had begun with a refusal, But it would continue with something far more powerful: cooperation based on mutual respect and shared destiny. The galactic order had been transformed, not by conquest or dominance, but by the simple insistence on dignity and equality, perhaps humanity's greatest contribution to the stars.